Hi,
Hello.
everybody.
Welcome on into our April community stream. I am one of your hosts, Dork, community manager, and with me is...
I'm Eric. I'm the community director here. We are on the same team. We have fun.
We are on the same team. We have fun. And so we're just going to do a really quick news and update segment for you all to bring you up to speed on what's been happening in the world of Dead by Daylight before we pass you over to another team who's going to be going over some more in-depth game additions, events, and information. So to start us off, I wanted to go ahead and say a huge thank you to everyone who went ahead and bought tickets for the 10th anniversary, as we are now sold out on both tiers. So thank you so much for going ahead and grab a ticket, and I can't wait to see you guys there.
I'm so psyched. It still doesn't feel real because, we live online with all of you people. To actually be in the same physical space is going to be great. We had a little taste of it last year when I went to PAX. You're going to get a taste of it this weekend? Next weekend?
Next weekend, yeah. Scotland.
What are you doing there?
Oh, well, we're going to HorrorCon Glasgow. We'll be there on April 11th. Super excited to meet everyone across the pond and to do the interactive Dead by Daylight event. I'm so excited to actually work on a Jinn and get chased by the Huntress. So that's going to be so cool. And, we'll see if my knees can handle it. But I'm excited to give it a shot.
Shout out to Scotland Laura running the thing. She sent us some in-progress stuff because they're doing a DVD experience you can go through. Send us some of the stuff they're concepting. It's super cool. May or may not be a blight there. Really excited. Okay, on with the news. We've mentioned before on the show, It Has My Face, which is a game that we at Behavior are publishing. So we just wanted to give a quick shout out. Tomorrow's their 1.0 launch on Steam. So if that's a game you've been interested in, check it out. If it's not, let's move on. Blood Moon is going on right now, as you hopefully know. If you don't, you should go get in there and start loading up your blood points. I don't know. It's going until April 16th, but something that is special this week, we now have a Twitch drop live, a new Twitch drop. It's called the Moonbite Twitch drop. All you got to do is watch 2 hours of DVD directory, so including the show. And you get that.
Yeah, and then a quick shout out to our V fans, as she'll be getting a great outfit coming with Songkran, the Songkran collection, in a couple of weeks. Songkran is the name of the Thai New Year, and it happens on April 13th. So it's going to be really exciting for her to have that new piece, and you can grab that and celebrate the holiday through V this year.
Well, people were aching for some V.
I'm aching for some V cosmetics. So yeah, I'm super excited to get my hands on that.
Yeah. Also, just chat, how's our audio? We got some new stuff going on over here. I haven't seen you shouting about audio, which is a good sign. How we doing? Check in with us while we continue.
Okay.
Oh boy.
All sounds good. I'm seeing good quality. Audio is good. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's the goal. So today on the show, we're not doing a Grimoire deep dive. We do those when we have a vote. So we don't have a vote today, but we do next week on the 9th. We're going to be We're going to be voting on a killer cosmetic concept, a survivor cosmetic concept, and chapter key art. If you don't know what that is, that means you don't work in marketing. Key art is basically the main image you see when we have a new chapter, and we want you to help us choose that. So that's going to be super.
Yes, and then we'll have 2v8 coming later this month, so stay tuned for that. Super excited for 2v8 to be making its way back into the fog, and then we'll be having the PTB.
Yep, next week, PTB starts, and the folks that are about to come on to dive into a bunch of design stuff will share what you'll be checking out in that. We'll share some info about that 2v8, so that's it for Dork and I. We've got a lot more show to come, so let's hand it over to Mandy and the crew.
All right.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. And thank you for joining us today. So this is going to be our little live design segment. And I've got some very special guests with me today that I'm excited to have. So everybody, we're going to start with, and what is your name? I forgot.
Oh, great. Hello, everybody. So you've probably seen me on here before. I'm Justin Banks. I'm one of the associate product directors on DBD. So today, I'm going to talk to all of you about 2v8. Now, I'm just making sure it's on the...
Sorry, I'm reading chat and everything is like, hi, Pappy Diego.
Hello, everyone. Okay, some people recognize.
Okay, there we go. So
No.
just making sure the screen transitions and we are good. All right, so we're talking about live design today with these other fine gentlemen. But I do want to get started by talking about 2v8 because there's a little bit of live design, let's say, that goes into that. Now, firstly, if you've seen the roadmap for April, you know that the next 2v8 is coming out at the end of April, along with the release. Now, of course, should dates change for any reason, this will still follow the release.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to mention a few things about it because I have some updates for you, but there are some very interesting things that you'll just have to wait until the middle of April to find out. So maybe what the theme that goes along with it for the 2v8 and for the Rift, we got some cool stuff, but you'll find out about that in a few weeks. Now, what is in this next 2v8 to share with you guys is some changes for Deathslinger and for the Oni. So you're going to see that Oni will have a slight nerf, and Deathslinger will have a nice little buff. Now, there's no new additions of killers in this instance, which is something that we'll talk about maybe a little bit after towards the end of my portion, because I want to also talk a little bit about what it takes to actually add a new killer into 2v8 itself. Now, in addition to balance changes for these two, we are also updating the anti-camp system that we have in here. So most significantly, right now, if you were to play 2v8 when it was live, is if the anti-camp meter would be full, you would be relocated somewhere else on the map, even if you didn't actually want to be, because maybe someone was coming nearby to save you. So now that's going to be up to you as a survivor to change your location once it's built. So you could stay there if you want. You're not being forced around the map at all. And we hope that's really going to help everyone, optimize their saving strategy.
That sounds good. Is there going to be like an action key that people can use so that they're going to have that option?
Yeah. I mean, so as a survivor in the cage, you are going to have a button available to you to press that to relocate around the map.
That's brilliant. I like that.
Again, you still can't control exactly where you're going, so you do take that risk, but it's probably better than being moved away from someone who is about to save you.
It was about to save, yeah.
So,
yeah, because that was a point of frustration for players before.
So I think that's going to be a really good improvement. Now, for maps that we're bringing in, we are bringing in Temple of Purgation, and I believe Ironworks of Misery. I just want to make sure I'm getting the name right, because we have a lot of maps.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, so we're just trying to bring in some more fan favorites from existing realms that we have, that we know our players are going to enjoy. So overall, that's what's coming for the next 2v8. Now, there is a question that we get often, which is what is happening with Legion in 2v8? And as we talk about killer inclusion and why how we choose them, this is, I would say, a misstep that we want to admit we took. So Legion right now is going to still show as not active or kill switched. For a future 2v8, it will show properly as not available in this mode, and so we want to make it very clear. We tried quite a few things to get Legion to work in 2v8 internally. Ultimately, there was not a way we could find it to be fun without modifying the power in a drastic way. And that's something we always want to avoid. We want to avoid changing it from a power that you recognize if you are used to this killer in 1v4. So there are no current plans to re-add Legion, so I just want to make that very clear to everybody. And we have a lot of guidelines to help us avoid this situation in the future. So as we go on to some of that to explain a bit better, when we actually choose killers for 2v8, barring Legion, let's say, there are some objectives and guidelines that we're trying to follow. And that means I'll be discussing this a lot internally with usually these folks next to me, as it's a lot of design and UX that we need to discuss, and probably some community needs where Mandy will chime in as well.
I can't keep my mouth shut, basically, so yeah.
I didn't say a thing.
You insinuated it.
So what we try to do when picking killers that we want to add into 2v8, we want to ensure that they are simple to understand, they are fun for both roles, and there's a strong usage and appreciation for them in 1v4. There are also some other things that we always need to consider whenever we're adding a killer at all. into 2v8, which is that, sorry, fun animation playing here as we go, is that adding any new killer to 2v8 will increase the killer queue times. This is something we've seen in the past, and so we do try to offset this with some survivor side gameplay to make sure that both roles are equally interesting. So there have been some 2v8s in the past where we focused on more of the survivor side gameplay, or we added something like play while you wait, but this is always going to be a thing. If we're adding a new killer, the killer queue time in 2v8 will increase. Then there's also the matter that we have our resources shared across all of our events and even across other areas of the game, because we tried to work a little bit in pods and reserving resources for everything, but DBD is a game, we're a team, resources are going to be shared when they're needed for one item or another.
Yeah.
So if we're trying to add a difficult killer, let's say to 2v8, that's going to take away from somewhere else. So that being mentioned, I want to get into some more interesting stuff where we peel back a little bit more of the curtain, which is why are some actually taking longer than others? So I'm pretty sure I've seen on some Reddit posts that some people are discussing, I want this one, I want that one.
Yeah.
I want to really make
that a
sure
lot.
that like the expectations for players are kind of in check, so they can understand why it might be taking longer to add some favorites versus others. So I have 4 big reasons that I am discussing with Matt here a lot.
Like every day, it's fine.
Every day, I think. So one reason is world VFX. So when we have killer powers that are going to affect the entire environment, like Dredge causing Nightfall, Freddy causing Dream World, these are questions of, well, how do these actually go together? Is there a priority of one happens over the next? What happens if we introduce another killer later on that has the same type of effect? So there's essentially a systemic or systematic approach that we need to take and solve, but it takes time to solve this, and it takes a lot of exploratory work. So it's not that it's impossible, but it takes time. Another one is if we have killer shared interactables. So these are some considerations. Right now, we have Huntress. So this is fine. Huntress is using lockers. But if we add Dredge, who I did mention on the previous slide, then survivors are going to need the ability to lock lockers. Okay, what does that do if someone's using Huntress? Is it a okay experience for us to lock the Huntress away? Is that fun? Maybe. But we need to do some testing and to understand the impact on the player. And then if we ever add Trickster into 2v8, it would be the same situation. So we just need to understand what it means, the effort level involved, and what the player experience is going to be. Because we don't want it to end up where using one killer is extremely negative and we spent the time putting them in for either side.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah. And then there's also the case of, hey, we have a lot of statuses in DBD.
Just 1 or 2.
Yeah. So we love to have killers that can apply statuses. It's a fun way to really expand on the gameplay, keep some good theming in there. But what do you do if you have 2 killers that have different statuses that are that are affecting survivors? So let's say I've got examples here. If you have Doctor, if your survivor has Madness, but maybe you're also in Dream World and you need to wake up, is that fun? We don't know. So there's some exploring we need to do. And if you're infected by the plague, and you have one of these, well, what's that going to feel like as a player? Is it just an incredibly negative experience? And we want to avoid again what it was like for people playing against Legion. We want both sides to feel fun. So there's likely a solution we can come to, but it's going to take us some time. So I want to be clear, I'm not ruling out any killers, but on the design team, UX, product community, like we all need to do our work and really put our heads to the table of which ones do we prioritize, and put the effort in.
Yeah. And we want to put in what people find fun as well.
Exactly.
Like so fun is like one of the
I've said in the objectives, if both sides find it fun, in 1v4, there's likely a good reason and incentive to put them into 2v8.
Yeah, exactly.
I may be getting ahead of the last one slide that I have here, which is killer items.
Yeah.
That's on me. So this is also more of a spawning issue. How do we support so many different items using spawn locations in a map, but also now the survivor has multiple side objectives they have to do and spend time away from gens. Maybe it's okay in a map if you're running to one side to wake up because you're asleep from Freddy, or if you're against the pig and you're trying to find your key. What if you have to do both of those at the same time? That might not be fun, but there's probably ways for us to mitigate it and make those work together. Again, that's time intensive. So to recap on those big reasons that we keep seeing come up during our internal discussions, it's world of the effects, it's killer shared interactables, it's multiple statuses, it's killer items. And you can probably think of some killers that fit into all of these categories. I've got Dredge and Freddy appearing in a few.
Yeah.
So those are some tricky ones to get in, and that's not to say we don't want them. I want to be like entirely clear. We want to find ways, but we have to prioritize. We've got a limited amount of resources, and we want to do so many things on DBD. So we have to pick our battles.
Yeah. That's an
Now-
important one.
Yeah. Now, I've shown one license or a few licenses here, but I know it does come up, and I've seen it mentioned. How do our licenses factor into 2v8 selection? Because we've added quite a few over the past, and I guess the simplest explanation is these tick all of the boxes right away. Usually our most used licenses are because they're simple, they're fun for both roles, and players just really resonate with them. So this was the reason why we actually sought out Resident Evil to be our first licenses to add in there, and why we're going to continue to see which licenses fit in there, so that the ones that are the most used in 1v4, most enjoyed by both sides, can be used in as much of the game as possible, and so people can live out these crazy, wacky 2v8 fantasies that are extremely fun. Now, I've given, let's say, a bunch of things that we have to consider.
Yeah.
Throw that out for a second. Which killers do you guys actually want to see in 2v8? Let us deal with the workload. But I want you guys to think about which killers you want to see in that are not in there yet.
Oh, chat just went mad.
I have to avoid looking
Oh,
at it.
no, I've got to look at it. Sorry, but it's going
blocking
so
it. I
fast.
can't see.
Funny enough, Doctor and Dredge.
Doctor and Dredge. Okay, some work to do. That's
Right,
cool.
Bubba's I'm seeing Bubba quite a bit. I'm seeing a lot of love for Ghoul. I'm
Okay.
sure that's our
So
consultants.
now let's flip the other side of the coin.
Okay.
Which ones should we avoid?
Which ones do you not
Yeah.
want to see?
So Legion's already out, so please don't. You don't have to mention Legion. But is there another killer that? Oh, the chat is going fast. I have to block it.
Now I'm seeing a lot more Ghoul as well.
It's a lot of the same.
It is, isn't it?
It's a lot of the same.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's
Okay.
like the work is kind of done for us.
Chat's going. Calm down, chat. Calm down, chat.
Now,
I can't read that fast.
This is obvious. So the chat window is right here. Is why I'm pointing.
Yeah,
looking here,
we can
having
see
to
the chat
avoid
on
it
there.
a little bit. But it's really cool. I like that you guys are active here.
Yeah.
Now,
I like it too.
beyond just the chat, we are going to actually take
Yeah.
your feedback into consideration in a more quantitative form, I should say.
Yeah.
During the next 2v8, either during it or when it's over, we are going to include asking you which killers you want to see added or avoided. So this will be a little different from the usual 2v8 ones, asking just about the performance or how new content is received. We want to know what you want us to do next or to avoid. And so we can tell you that we are going to take that into consideration for future decisions of who we add in.
Yeah. I like that way.
Yeah. And I'm very excited to see what everyone says for that. Now, the very last thing that I have before I pass this over to my colleagues on the other couch is, if you remember, we introduced this really loving feature called Play While You Wait to 2v8. It's wonderful. It helps people stay engaged. And a lot of you have been asking, when is it coming to 1v4? This release, we are finally bringing this into 1v4. So when we see that the roll ratios are beyond a certain value, it will kick in and you will be able to queue as killer while playing as survivor in 1v4. Now, it won't be available on the PTB, but when live, especially when the 2v8 is active as well, that is going to be a great opportunity for that to kick in. So if you want to avoid 2v8, you are still going to have a chance to play in 1v4 without being subjected to crazy queue times. I mean, we are still doing everything to make the queue times as let's say, palatable as possible to keep them low.
Yeah.
But we know it's not always possible, so we're giving people this option so you still have a way to play and not just be stuck there.
That'd be great for our content creators as well, because obviously it's not great content when they have to sit and queue and wait for 5 minutes and things. So at least they'll be able to play a survivor game, for example, because it is only that way around, isn't it? It's for killers only.
Exactly.
You can't queue while you wait as a survivor.
It is still play while you wait.
Yeah.
As you're waiting to play as killer, you can play as a survivor. There's been discussions, I will say, about the other way, but there's no plans on when, if that's needed.
Okay.
But I know some players ask for it.
Yeah, because you just want it. You just, if one side has it, the other side wants it.
At the end of the
Simple as
day,
that.
it's which side needs it the most,
Yeah,
and so that's
I
what
get
we
it.
are prioritizing. Now I'll pass this fun little clicker all the way over. Mandy, you get to hand it off.
Yeah, it's got a laser on it that we're not allowed to touch.
We aren't.
We would play with.
They keep telling us, but
Yeah,
maybe.
he's going to start. He's going to start. So,
So
Matthew, very happy to have you here today.
Finally,
It's your
finally,
first stream.
it's been a little while that I've been here, so it's nice
Yeah.
to actually indulge with the community for a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
It's good to have you here.
It's not the the subject I have to talk about, a little bit sensitive, a little bit.
A little bit
Smidge.
spicy.
So for those of you who don't know, Matt, I'm one of the lead designers on DBD. One of the things under my purview is live balance. And live balance is, people have opinions.
Spicy?
Spicy?
It gets spicy.
as well.
It gets, yeah.
We got a big game. That's
And it's tricky in a lot of ways because, of course, the asymmetry in DBD, how do we please everyone? Or how do we please the most people? And it's a constant challenge. And the most important thing that we've been working on is learning how to please as many people as possible, but also learning from when we have missteps.
Yeah, it's the biggest learning.
Yeah. So the topic I have to talk about is going to be modifier stacking. And we've had a lot of issues with a variety of modifier stacking. Modifier stacking tends to lead the meta in the game a lot. Most commonly, we have healing speed, repair speed, gen regression, haste, hindered. Definitely had some drama with haste and hindered in the last year.
Hope and MFTs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What is the solution that we're going to work on? We want to figure out how to handle applying a form of diminishing returns. So to put it simply, it's just going to be a question of reducing how these modifiers add together. We learned from haste and hindering earlier in the year, just flat out saying there's a cap or just flat out not allowing these things to stack together doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for a variety of reasons and negates entire play styles all at once. And that's not what we're looking for.
It was definitely something that was spicy when we trialed it. There was
Yes.
it affected a lot of players' builds and things like that.
And we heard it. We heard it.
Yeah.
We listened. We reviewed at depth. We took everything the community told us. We looked at everything data said, and we had to come up with, before we even start proposing a new solution, what is the goal? Ultimately, the goal is a new lever to balance these modifiers. This means the ability to separate modifier balance between different sources.
Mhm.
Different sources, of course, being perks, killer powers, which we may have struggled with in the past, and also items. If we do this, and if we do this well, and it's going to be a process, it's going to take many updates to get exactly where we want to go, and being live balance is going to be constantly reiterated.
Mhm.
One of the main goals is to bring generalist and specialized builds a little bit closer together. We know right now that bringing a build as a player by yourself that's hyper specialized in doing one thing leads the meta in a lot of all the different MMR ratings.
Yeah.
We see it across the board. By making generalist builds a little bit closer, not necessarily the new meta, it's going to support more build diversity, and arguably more importantly, solo queue players are going to have just a better experience. They'll be able to, by doing that, adapt better to the environment. I know I've definitely had games where I come with a gen jockey build, and then
You're one of those.
Like you're better. Come on.
but then everyone has one that
Yeah,
I randomly
mine's
get
haste.
paired with.
Mine's haste,
Yeah.
so I will stack haste things. So.
But if you end up in solo queue and everyone's playing the same way you are, no one can handle, if everyone shows up to Gen Rush, no one's there to loop with the killer.
Yeah.
You know, so being able to have a better value for players to play broadly and adapt to the live environment of that match is what we want to do. Functionally, we're capping limitless stacking. It's not a hard cap. It's by the way the math is going to work as it iterates over many, many versions, the limits are going to be more predictable. And the more predictable those limitations are, the less abusive synergies are going to exist. That's our goals, which is very broad speaking, but it's what we're working towards. So now we're going to get a little bit more technical, but what is diminishing returns as we see it for the design team? Each instance of a given modifier, or for each instance of a given modifier, their values will be reduced. And they will be ordered from the largest to smallest. That is to say, whatever will take haste. Whatever your biggest source of haste, if you have multiple sources of haste, it will be given to you full. The next source of haste will be reduced. The next source of haste will be reduced.
Question there. When you say the next source of haste, is it the next one introduced? So for example, if you've got MFT and Hope.
Yeah.
So it's endgame. I've got Hope active. Then MFT is active. Is Hope first or MFT first?
It's going to adjust live.
Okay.
So anytime something gets introduced, and I'll talk more about it in a little bit, every time a new source or a new variable for that stat gets introduced, it'll automatically be adjusted.
Perfect.
Yeah. The reductions will increase. The reductions applied to each of these will increase as the base modifier decreases. What does that mean? Well, that means the largest source of a buff, and these values are what we're testing with right now, and they are not set in stone, definitely not for eternity. Your biggest or your largest source of a stat will be given to full, 100%. The next will be halved. The next will be quartered, and so on. So I think a good example of this, tying into your question, we'll talk about healing perks as an example. Let's say you have botany knowledge, and botany knowledge, 50% heal speed. But then you have desperate measures, and currently there's 2 hook states. So
Okay.
2 hook states is 40%.
Yeah.
In this case, the 40% will be halved to 20%.
Okay, so you get the 50%.
So you still get the 50% in full. However, if you get another hook state for desperate measures, that puts it to 60.
Yeah.
It's at the top. You will now get the full 60% for desperate measures, and botany knowledge will be halved.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So the
Now I
diminishing
get it.
returns are going to be applied dynamically as the game evolves.
Now I get you. That makes
Favoring the
sense.
higher.
Always
Yes.
favoring the highest.
That's where I was getting confused.
So it's one of the reasons we did this was we wanted to make sure that the values were what we were having control over, not the ideal timing. We want most perks to be able to interact. We know that some players like having, I like having my haste consistently throughout the match, even if it's lower. Other players prefer to have their haste all at once when they really need it,
It's me.
So
That explains a lot, Mandy.
That's the fun, isn't it, though, is that we all have different play styles. And
That's it.
That's the thing. It's like we're trying to support everything, and it's not always easy to be able to support that many play styles in the game.
So this is going to go in place during the PTV.
Yeah.
We're going to monitor it and possibly make some adjustments based on how PTV goes, as we normally do. But with very few exceptions, we're not doing a big pass on all of the perks and all of the other sources right away. This is going to be a big meta change. New interactions are going to be viable. Other interactions are going to be a little bit less viable. Aside from some outliers that we've already identified, which we will address, and some outliers that will show up during PTB and during early iterations, so release and so on. We want to see how the dust settles. And then how the dust settles, we're going to look at improving and improving and improving. So to get back to where the game is now in terms of how strong many builds are or many playstyles are, the expectation is, again, aside from some outliers as we identify them, the expectation is a lot more buffs in general to different aspects of the game.
That's what we like. We like buffs. We do. I'm seeing a lot of questions in chat about how does this impact killers?
So it impacts killers a few ways. One of them, so one thing I'll address very quickly is add-ons, which also applies to killers. It applies to items on the survivor side. Add-ons are modifiers to the base value being applied from the killer power or the item.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no diminishing returns applied to add-ons. Add-ons determine what the base value is of the killer power. Trapper has haste in his base kit as an example. So Trapper's base kit haste, if it's affected by an add-on, that'll be the one value, the modified value, that's compared to all the perks he takes with it.
Okay.
So this allows us certain things. A big one, and I'll use Trapper as an example, not that he's being changed soon. I'm not promising anything yet. But how often has it happened where we've seen feedback that, we nerf a perk because it's super problematic, especially with a certain killer. And then we nerf that perk, but other less performing killers all of a sudden, they needed it.
Yeah.
And now they're all so much worse. Well, now, and again, I'll use Trapper as an example, we can buff haste in Trapper's base kit because we know there's a limit on how it's going to stack, and we don't have to nerf all the killer sources of haste and perks as a side effect. So it gives us, again, more flexibility to safely play with these things.
Yeah, so because we've seen it over the years that we've had to maybe nerf perks harder than we would have because of one specific killer or one specific scenario. Right. So that gives you more control over that.
That's it. It's the more performing killers will not hold less performing killers hostage.
That's going to be good.
Which has been a problem historically.
Yeah.
So that's it for diminishing returns.
The maths is done, so that's good.
The big math part is
the numbers are part are gone.
Fun?
No, I can't do maths.
We are going to have some killer updates.
Yes, this is the good stuff. We like killer updates.
Yeah. Many of these are due to the diminishing returns, some of them less so. But first, there's some ups and downs. So we'll talk about the downs first. Which killers are going to get some nerfs? And we're going to start, there's really only two. So we're going to start with Blight. Blight, we're talking to people in the community, especially big Blight players.
Yeah.
I'm going to say before I get into the details of this pass this is step one of two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We want to tune some base kit things down. So when we do a little bit more of a rework later, the rework is not just nerfs. The rework is, depending on where he settles, maybe it's a bit up, maybe it's a bit lateral, but an improvement to the experience playing with and playing against Blight. So for starters, speed reduction. Blight is going to be going from 4.6 to 4.4. Next is...
I think chat is supporting this.
I'm watching.
There's a lot of
W's.
There's a lot of W's in this chat.
The next
Hi, chat.
Then the next one is pallet breaking.
Yeah.
We're reducing rush tokens on pallet break. Now it'll move down to 2 below maximum.
Okay.
And resets the current rush token recharge. So this is going to be, he goes and he goes and he goes until he has to slow down, and he will actually slow down.
Yeah, so it'll help with the zoning.
Breaking pallets in this case, we should specify basic breaks, special break actions, however you're breaking the palette.
I
A
get
lot of
confused with
W's.
that. It's a lot of W's, but I think most people agree this has been a long time. It's like, this is actually something we've had in the works for quite some time. It's just looking at the right moment. And we did work with some blight mains. We have a very important blight main as one of our consultants who has been involved in the process and will be continued to be involved in whatever happens in the future with blight. And that's been super handy, actually, because
Been hugely helpful.
yeah, having that knowledge and ability on the killers is helped us see where we.
It saved time and iteration too.
Exactly.
Right when
exactly, because you can look at it on paper and say, yellow, that, no, that's great, no, that's not, and it's just helped a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next killer that's getting, a little bit of a takedown, and we'll see how they react this time, is Nurse. Nurse is getting a small reduction in their last breath add-on.
There's doublies again.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that.
But before I saw a Matt is goat, by the way.
Oh, really?
No, you don't tell him
I
that.
gotta call it out.
I need more. Need more.
Ego.
He needs the ego. Come on. It's like, I'll be honest, a big thing. Being on your first live stream is it's a big thing. It's nerve-wracking, and you're doing great.
So for now, it's just the add-on change. We have other ideas in the long term for Nurse, but again, this is no promises on when or how. We want to take down the thing that we know is the most abusive with her, and then go from there.
But she's in our sights.
But she's in our sights.
Exactly. Because people are like, we don't listen. We do listen. She's in our sights. Yeah. She's on the list.
So, buffs.
Buffs. Now, this is fun.
Yes.
This is the fun stuff.
Now, there's not a lot to say. Bear with me. All of this, again, related to diminishing returns, numerical tweaks for now. So just small. In some cases, it's one stat that changes, give or take. Some more, some, well, not less than one, but
yeah. And they're not the end of it.
They're not the end.
We're not saying, oh, this is having this little number change and that's it. We're forgetting about them.
That's it.
That isn't the case.
It's just to put us in the position with the perk change or with the diminishing returns changes to be able to best evaluate what we're going to do.
Exactly.
So who's getting some small tweaks in the positive? Well, the Cannibal and Doctor and Demogorgon and Dredge and Ghostface, Mastermind, especially now that he's been fixed.
Which is still work in progress. We still got some bug fixes to go. There is still a couple of things outstanding with Wesker. So we are still working on that for the people who are asking, because I have seen quite a bit in chat. That is still work in progress.
Unknown.
Nice.
Finally getting some love.
Yes.
And animatronic. Now, animatronic, I put an asterisk. There's a little bit of up and down. We want to improve the value for survivors to interact with the camera.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's a bit of a down. But we're giving him some stat buffs to compensate.
Okay, cool.
So if survivors still don't interact with the camera, it's all buff. It's really, how are you going to play? That's going to determine how big or small a change it is.
Oh, well, that's going to be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to this PTB now. I am, and I swear, I haven't seen many demo please in the chat, and it just made me really sad. So can we have some demo please in chat, please? Demo's getting some buffs. Demo please is my favorite emote on Twitch. Thank you, chat.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good. I do good?
You did really, really good.
You did great.
You did. You did great. And I've seen a lot of questions coming in, but a lot of them are things that you were covering in the whole thing. So that is really good. I'm excited to show the patch notes next week.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday is the big day, so that's going to be good.
So all the theory crafting can start.
Yeah, all the theory crafting about what you want buffed on Ghostface and things like that. And actually, I've also heard that from a lot of Ghostface mains that the lean is feeling so much better since there's been some adjustments with the reveal mechanic.
Good.
So they're saying that with some little buffs is actually a really, really nice timing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
put them in a much better place too,
Exactly.
which is good.
Exactly. So
Good.
thank you very, very much, Matthew. And now we have someone who I think you know. I think you've been here before.
Yeah, I have just shown my face once.
Once or twice.
Yeah,
once
yeah.
Or twice.
They haven't able to keep me out.
Yeah, we can't keep him away. Please welcome Diego, chat.
So for whoever doesn't know me, I'm the UX design lead, Diego. I have been here a couple of times. And the chat have provided me with a nickname, so you're going to read it there.
Happy Diego.
Yeah.
I'm going to use it forever and a day. Sorry.
So let's go. So as an intro to this section, as a lot of you may be already aware, because it's something that we have been communicating the past few live streams and overall with Dead by Daylight, is that among all the efforts we are doing, all the attention we're putting to make the game fun, more engaging, we're also thinking about our next players or newer players. So people that are just getting to know the game, also friends of ours that sometimes we have managed to manipulate them into playing the game finally with us. So to make the experience more fun.
Manipulating your friends, blackmail, bribery.
Exactly. Anything that is needed, the goal justifies the means. So we are really putting our attention there. And this doesn't mean that we are trying to make the game quote unquote easier in the sense of like, oh, it's going to be easier for a survivor or a killer to win. We want to keep the challenge there. We want to keep also what is known to be fun, to be engaging for our experienced players too. So every time we do this, we just ask ourselves, how can we meet newer players' need better, improve this onboarding experience we make, while also keeping the experience great or even better for experienced players. So one thing is that we understand that as we try new stuff, as we adjust things so they can work when you're a new player and when you're an experienced player, may be challenging because we are used to things. We are used to see something work in this manner and another way. So although we believe in the changes we made, we don't just make a change because we want to make a change. We also acknowledge that sometimes this thing for some people can take some adjustment period. So we understand.
Change is hard. Change is hard to get used to.
Yeah.
Something changes, and especially it's something that players have used for maybe 10 years now, and then that changes. That can be really difficult to adjust to.
Exactly. We all have been there.
Yeah.
So many different.
Yeah.
So
me included. Like I've played this game many years, as you know. It's like change happens, and I'm like,
you hate the changes I do. So yeah, I know that.
Thanks, Diego, for calling me out.
No.
Mandy hates all the changes we make.
Never. No, I don't. No, I don't ever.
So first thing that we're going to talk, it's a small thing. And this type is linked a little bit with what we did, the effort that, the game design team did mostly with Diminishing Returns. And it was revisiting how do we surface speed for players. So currently, our progress bar that is mostly seen by survivors is interesting, to say in a way. It works in mysterious ways. So we have noticed time and time again that the way it varies in colors is hard to understand for newer players. So there's this idea of saying, okay, I'm seeing the speed change, but the colors not always match this change of speed. Why is it happening? So a lot of us understand that color has been depending on personal speed, that we also have used it to suggest some tactics that I'm going to mention. But this thing, we think we could do better for players to just immediately understand what is happening. So when I mention the tactics, a lot of people can understand that when working on gens, the gen is going very quick because you are doubling down, it turns red because there is a personal debuff, and it's a viable strategy for the survivor to scatter around and tackle different gens at the same time, because you can put more pressure on us killers. Yeah, no fun for me. No, it's fun. Although, and sometimes, of course, it's also a valid strategy to double down. But that's why colors were the way they were. So we got to the point where a new player would see gold is fast or yellow is fast. Red is fast too. So what is happening? So what are we doing? It's not only putting a interesting animation there to better surface the speed changes.
Who missed the skill
so
check?
you can see, yeah, why did you have to say that? Also, I had the reaction. Yeah, that's me. People know I'm a killer
You're
main.
such a killer main.
Yes, but at least I know to crouch after missing.
Yes, I'm very proud of the crouching and teabagging there to say, I'm really sorry, guys, for blowing that gen. I'm proud of you.
Yes.
I'm proud of you.
But going back to the video, you can see that being alone there, it was in red color because I had a debuff, and as soon as after missing the skill check, another survivor joins me. Now it's going gold because at the end of the day, the speed overall of the gen is higher than the normal one. So now we're making it in a way that's matching. Always, it uses the same language for speed representation, and it's matching other games. So in a way, we think this is clearer, smoother, and it's going to maybe feel a little bit weird for people that we are used to the other thing, but we believe this is going to help. So that was the tiny thing, because we have something else to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's the gap that we have between people playing as a team, friends, surviving with friends, and solo queue experiences. So we know how difficult it can be. Understanding what other people are doing when you're not talking to them, so you don't know what is on their minds. So for instance, if I happen to play as a survivor, hopefully not missing that many skill checks, I usually pack will make it. So I can go in an opportunity to unhook someone, kill them faster, maybe kill someone else if I have this time to do so. I don't know if someone else is using the same perk.
That's true.
I don't know if someone else is using Deliverance. I need the
exactly. Thank you for mentioning someone stealing my deli.
And I'll be more careful. And also, sometimes people don't have perks related to this, but they think I should be going there.
Yeah.
So what happens at the end of the day, you don't know what is happening to them. They can get frustrated. Everyone thinks that everyone is a coconut, and the experience as a solo queue player is not ideal. So it's tough to communicate with them, to really have some synergy while playing. Thank you. Synergia will have been easier for me in Spanish.
That would have been harder for me. I can't manage French.
So learning about other people's choices and learning the game through that is harder on solo queue. So at the end of the day, there's a big difference. There's a gap between playing alone and playing with others. So a step we're taking is allowing you, when you get into the match, to open the match details. And now you will have this initial page of the match details that's going to allow you to see not only your loadout options, but the rest of your team's loadout options. And I add emphasis.
We got a lot of W's in the chat, look. It's like, it's funny, but all the way through the stream, I have been watching people say, show team's perks, show team's perks.
Nice.
It's come up constantly. So I was waiting for this moment, and I knew the chat was going to go
a
bit insane. So yes, I think this has been a hugely requested feature.
Yeah, we have heard the community.
Yeah.
We have worked finding what is the best solution or version of this we can deliver and keep improving on. So I'm happy that we have so many W's there.
Yeah, and it's after match start.
After match start, yes.
Yeah, so you load in.
We want to be sure that people start taking this once they are there to play together, and we don't have people that may just decide to go into another match because they don't like someone like me using Will Make It. So
We'll Make It is goated.
yeah,
It's very underrated. It's a goated perk.
yeah. So one thing that I need to mention here, and I understand that for some killer players, this may come as an extra challenge. Again, I'm a killer main, and I understand that, for instance, if I play as Ghostface, that's not the most common thing for me, and my favorite is Xenomorph. There was this space of uncertainty that I could use to my favor. Right now, if you see the video, if you watch the video, you're going to see that the power icon is also visible. Not your loadout. Survivors are not going to be able to see your loadout, but they can check which killer there is there. So we want to also take this opportunity to start surfacing this thing without much hints, without breaking any gameplay uncertainty and fun for the killers and for the whole match. And we will be checking how do we make for the ambush, for the stealthy killers, the experience still an interesting challenge from T0, from the start of the match.
Yeah, because I think that's definitely chat's concern right now, is that showing that killer, showing the stealth, the fact that it's a stealth killer, things like that.
Yeah, and we're going to be monitoring this, and we will be working here with Matt and the rest of the team to be sure that we address this potential issue.
This is almost specifically an issue with stealth killers, because there's a lot, and I mean a lot of ways to identify the killer early on.
Exactly.
Right? Even as a solo player, there's a lot of ways to identify it. And the only thing that's not identified is when they're stealth killers, right? So,
you know, if you don't hear a heartbeat and things like that, you know it's a stealth killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this also gave us the opportunity to go into spectator mode and now allow you to interact with the HUD. So we are doubling down on this idea of making the game more engaging for new players and experienced players alike. So as you can see on the video, you can hover on the perk, you can hover on status effect. If you're spectating in a normal game or custom game, this is something you're going to be able to do now. And we hope this is something that is also interesting for content creators, for streamers, and for us to, again, keep improving. So it's something that helps everyone for their needs. And it's interesting to keep the game alive and ever more interesting.
It's great for new players as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you can see your teammates playing perks you haven't identified yet, you're not familiar with, and how and when to use them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's the main use case for me, is that for newer players, and because there's a lot of game to learn.
Yeah.
It's really hard for the new players.
3 years in and still there, still learning, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So little final note, as we mentioned last time, we said we are going to keep looking into putting more auras out there for you to customize color-wise. So listening to you and proceeding with this continuous improvement plan, we are allowing now to customize key gameplay auras regarding effects that come from perks, that come from powers, and so on. So when you see here highlighted market surface, surface has to do with auras that show you elements. So for instance, eruption or deja vu. Mark when you have marked something that you want the aura to be there. So Xenomorph, my main, when I point to a control station and I just mark it so I can go into the tunnels and know where I should be going, there you go. And highlighted, it is when you are looking at auras and we change it by default to red. You can change this too. Killer objects as part of your customization. So if you would rather, instead of having white as a color, you can choose anything else for your killer object. Maybe you're playing as Mina, and now you want another color that is more in theme with her.
Something brighter.
Yeah. And finally, although I think the slide went out, but anyway, breakable walls. It was a little breakable walls.
Like breakable walls line.
Extra thing. Yay, there it is. But there we are.
Thank you, Diego. There's a lot of information on that. Thank you so very, very much.
Oh, thank you.
A reminder to everybody, you're going to get a chance to test everything out in the PTB. Community team, as usual, will be on all our platforms getting the feedback. So please let us know exactly what you think of everything. Always, as we say, PTB, it's not set in stone. There's things that we can change, stuff like that. So the feedback is super important. And I think we've got a wrap for today. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you for joining us. Thank the mods for doing an amazing job. And thank everybody from behind the scenes to have made this possible and been fairly smooth going and relaxed for a Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good day to end our short week.
Oh, a short week? Yeah, short week, yeah. Oh, yeah. Long weekend.
Hey, don't come in tomorrow.
No, I won't come in. I forget. Don't. I'll forget and come in tomorrow. So thank you all very, very much. PTB Tuesday, 11 a.m., give or take a minute or two. And we're going to be heading over to Linksy to raid. So please go and send her a lot of love.